10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? It's Dan and Lucas here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here to talk all things Royal Rumble predictions. We'll be right back after this brief message. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hey, what is up? It is Dan and Lucas, and we are here for the Royal Rumble 2024 prediction show. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's an exciting time now as we head into Mania season and all the gloriousness that is en route. And obviously we've had a good journey to the Rumble, but we've also had a very newsworthy day for the WWE, of course, which we may delve into throughout this predictions. It's a bit light, isn't it, for Rumble kind of stuff we can talk about, really, because there's not much in the way announced other than the two obviously Rumble matches, and we've got two championship matches as well that have been announced. But apart from that, we've not got a lot to talk about, like inside the Rumble pay-per-view.
And the thing is, even like at time of recording, we have, let me just see, we've got 6 women announced for the Women's Rumble and 11 men announced for the Men's Rumble. So normally at this stage, you'd have like quite like a big field. You'd normally have like the graphic up with loads of different wrestlers on it. And you'd be like, oh, okay, I think it could be this person's year. But it's kind of strange how, like, with the women's one especially, they've put like the 6 women that they've announced for it so far. You've got to think it's most likely going to be, well, I would say most likely going to be like one of them that will win it, because you've got on there Bayley, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Maxine Dupree, and Ivy Nile. And it's like, why would you not just announce more people for it? You got 30 people. It's going to be Saturday, unless they literally announce like a shed load on SmackDown.
Yeah, I get a feeling they announce more close to the time. I think, obviously, as wrestling journalism will be doing this week, it'll be checking everyone's flights and seeing who's there, and all the dirt sheets will be kind of, you're talking about the rumoured appearances of people. And obviously, in the Women's Rumble, there are a few names that have come up, obviously, the past week or so. Naomi, forming Trinity and TNA, obviously. She's just left TNA. And it has been kind of said that she's coming back to WWE, and so the Women's Rumble has been a fan of people returning in that Rumble match and winning that Rumble match, as it's happened a few times. So that could be a way they go. The women's one seems like it's very much open. Well, the men's one seems like it's open to like a group of them, and they've already kind of got that group. It feels like it's going to be one of that group outside of a random Lesnar wanting just to win the match, like what happened like 2 years ago. It feels very much like the men's one. They've got lots of stories in there. The women's one really seems like I would honestly not be too surprised whoever wins it in a weird way. It doesn't seem like they're building from my perspective. It doesn't feel like they're building anything in the women's division side of things, other than the whole Bayley finally turning or being turned on by her damage control Kabuki Warriors team persons, because it doesn't feel like there's any other story really going into it. I know Charlotte Flair's injured as well, and so that's another kind of.
There's zero chance of her showing up. No.
I'm sorry?
There's zero chance of her being in it. Now,
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, but normally that would be like one of their go-tos, isn't it? But
well, that's the thing though. But is she the return in the Rumble when she wins?
What, Charlotte?
Yeah,
she's out for like 6 to 9 months.
But is that real or?
Well, they've shown like her getting the surgery and all that, and yeah, so I think hers is like a lot more severe than what Seth's is, like injury wise. I think hers was a knee. I think ankle as well. I think partially with Charlotte's. But yeah, and then it's quite interesting to note as well that we literally have only one man announced on the SmackDown side of things as well. Like Bobby Lashley is the only person from SmackDown, but if you do want anyone from that brand, I think they're deliberately stacking it quite Raw heavy as well, because I think everyone pretty much knows that whoever wins the Rumble, if it's going to be Cody, then it will be him trying to finish the story of Roman Reigns. I think if it's CM Punk,
they've got a title match that night, which could change things.
Well, who knows? And then there's obviously the new WWE or TKO executive, Dwayne Johnson, who officially now owns the rights to the name The Rock as well.
Interesting.
Not actually officially announced that he's going to be doing any wrestling, but it is looking increasingly likely that he is going to be making an in-ring WWE return at some point. Whether that is at Elimination Chamber, whether that is at the Royal Rumble, whether that's a WrestleMania. It's, I guess, yeah, one of them things. So we are just waiting for Rob as well, by the way. So it's up to us two just talking a bit random. But yeah, I mean, we don't know obviously how long Rob's going to be. So should we just start getting into some of these predictions then, and then Rob can just catch up when he gets here?
Yeah, we could do, I guess. Yeah.
So let's start with the two title matches first. So let's go first off with the WWE United States Championship match, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. So with this one, obviously, a whole lot of the story has been around Kevin Owens, who had the legitimate broken hand, broken wrist, something broken in his hand or arm area, and was wearing a cast for protection. They've now played this into a storyline. Obviously, Logan Paul has got this. He's got a screw in his knuckle as well, so he's got a legitimate power of the punch kind of thing, which can knock people out. But yeah, after what happened on SmackDown, I have a feeling they may stip this match up. Well, I have a feeling they may go down the road of either a last man standing or an I Quit match, something along those lines, because they're playing into this thing of Kevin Owens not being able to use the cast. You've got obviously Logan saying that his punch can keep anyone down. They did the whole thing where he punched KO and he got up on SmackDown, sorry. So that's what makes me think they're going to potentially add a stipulation to this one.
Yeah. Rumbles have been, especially for Kevin Owens, actually, have been the home of many stipulations, like a match for him. He obviously famously had an IC title match against Dean Ambrose, which I think was last man standing. He also had last man standing during the pandemic era for WWE at the Royal Rumble against Roman Reigns.
Oh, is that the one where he technically won the title?
Yeah.
But the referee just stopped counting because he couldn't get up. Yeah. Something to do with that. Was it the handcuffs? He couldn't get out of the handcuffs.
Yeah. I think they messed up the key or something. But anyway, and yeah, I mean, because obviously when you look at the two main attractions, which are hour-long Rumble contests, which I'm a sidebar for now, but it's something which they have got to address in the future potentially. You're going to have to put something else on a bit different, obviously, from that. And putting on a stipulation match usually tends to be something they like to do. In terms of I saw the Kevin Owens show thing with Logan Paul in it, and I must admit I'm a bit annoyed that Logan hasn't wrestled since he won the title. Although it was expected, I did kind of think they'd sneak him on, even over like Christmas week or something, do you know what I mean? Like just to have like one defense or one match, even like a tag match, something like that. But I get, obviously he's an attraction and they don't want to obviously overdo it. But you know, his is just a bit like he won the title 2 months ago, and I don't know, this whole kind of like you've been champion for like 2 months, but you haven't even defended it, and he's already held that belt like longer than like a lot of people who I remember having the belt for. But anyway, like I think this yeah, Kevin Owens is a good opponent for Logan Paul though, and Kevin Owens is also a very good opponent for Logan Paul if they do go down the stipulation route. I'm not a fan of I Quit matches. I'm not a fan. I'm not too much a fan of Love and Standing matches either. Saying that, I would just be all right with having just a normal street fight / full cat anywhere. That could be a fun one actually to have. But I know they like. I guess having a I think for me it's having matches without pinfalls. I guess you've already got 2 of them in the Rumble, like and obviously Fatal 4, which we'll get onto I guess soon. But to surmise, though, I think my prediction won't change regardless of whatever match it ends up as, because I still don't think they're going to have Logan lose on his first defense, and certainly not to Kevin Owens, which I guess to some people might kind of suck, I guess, because people think Kevin Owens may be long overdue something, but I think this isn't the time to do it. Logan Paul, obviously, I believe. And there's maybe a further prediction, I guess. I believe Logan Paul will be losing to LA Knight down the line, for losing the United States Championship to LA Knight down the line, aka at WrestleMania. So I will say Logan Paul retains here.
So you're going to lock in Logan Paul. So let's have a quick look. We've got a few comments here as well. Yeah, we've got NWA Music with Alex, Mania Night 1 main event, Punk versus Rollins, Mania Night 2, Cody versus Roman. I think they're like the widely speculated ones that people are assuming. I think a lot of the Cody Roman thing depends, I think, on The Rock, because you could do Rock and Roman, but doesn't have to be for the championship. Cody can face anybody for that title. I think what people forget is the finishing the story is not about beating Roman Reigns. It's about winning that championship. So irrespective of who comes out of this Fatal 4-Way match, I do feel Cody Rhodes will potentially face them in the main event. It could even be Randy Orton, because I mean, you think that would be a full circle story as well, because it's like the whole thing with legacy, that kind of stuff. You've got AJ's always a solid hand, and I think last time, am I right in thinking last time AJ defended the title at Mania was when Shinsuke won the Rumble? 2018 was it? Trying to think, first women's Rumble 2018, because you had Nakamura and Asuka won, didn't they?
Yeah. They both went on to lose at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be some kind of like statistic, like for somewhere, but yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. What about you? Do you think the same?
I think it'll be Rock and Roman. I don't think Cody's getting a main event. Yeah, I think night 1 I'm with you, Punk and Rollins. I think night 2 will be Rock and Roman. However, spoiler from what I'm about to say for the next one, I guess, I don't think it'll be Roman Reigns with the championship, but it is one of those where obviously the Rock's able to come in and kind of be bigger than these championships, I believe, because there's no real advantage to the Rock and Roman being for the championships, because unless the Rock has obviously signed on to be a kind of even signed on to be a part-time wrestler at this point, there's no. I mean, people have said like, well, the Rock could beat Roman, and then someone that sets up someone to beat the Rock. But it's like, at this point, you're not going to have the Rock on like weekly TV, are you? And he's not going to be wrestling at Backlash and stuff like that. You'll be waiting again, pretty much for like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or maybe even, dare I say, to Mania next year, with the Rock wrestling like twice. And I hate to say it, like, and I love The Rock, and I think a lot of people do, but he's not The Rock from like 99, 2000. He's The Rock as a 50-year-old man now. And the segment he did with Jinder, in my opinion, just showed that yes, he's big, he's in like amazing kind of Hollywood shape, obviously, for his movies, but he's a 50-year-old man. Like, I don't think he can do like a full-on match. And so I think they will do their best, obviously, if it is to happen at Mania, to obviously give him that kind of one-off kind of thing. And I guess it helped because everything Roman does is in slow motion anyway. So I guess Slowman Reigns.
I mean, the thing is, I think it's a good thing this is a four-match card, actually, because you've got obviously both the Rumbles are going to be an hour. Roman's entrance alone will be half an hour. Randy Orton's hardly like running down to the ring, so you know, you're looking at least like 2.5 hours there.
Yeah, but no, I think that I'll be very surprised if it changes anything. And I guess the only thing that's kind of interesting is obviously Dwayne Johnson's now executive role in this company, which obviously could see an impact upon when and where he decides to return. It is interesting of note that it's kind of coincided with, you know, some personal setbacks in his Hollywood career, I guess, you know, with his last few movies kind of bombing, and obviously the cancellation of Young Rock, you know, and not really too much kind of in the future pipeline like for him as an actor. I guess he's thinking, you know, go back to WWE, get some easy money, and then obviously hope that there's another kind of Jumanji movie that's going to be made, so that you can obviously get some of. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess with The Rock, like, there'll always be an audience for people that want to see him wrestle, I guess. And I think, yeah, if it is to happen, though, I think it's this WrestleMania. Like, that's the time.
Yeah, I think like with The Rock, I think it is always a case of can he basically fit something into his schedule, and you know, now he's got that perfect opportunity to fit something in around the acting schedule. But then I guess it's a case of, you know, can he get into like ring shape for it, kind of thing, because there's, you know, you can go to a gym and do all the cardio you want, but you know yourself from, you know, training people for the last 15-20 years or whatever, that there's a different type of cardio needed when you step in that ring. It's totally different, because yeah, you've got obviously,
especially after not doing it for a very long time. Obviously, The Rock's
exactly.
I refuse to count that silliness with Eric Rowan at WrestleMania, whatever it was, now 31 or 32, whichever one it was. But he
set himself on fire nearly.
Yeah, like, I mean, his last actual match was against John Cena, you know, 11 years ago now. You know, and apart from obviously coming back and giving the odd rock bottom and people's elbow or whatever to a couple of wrestlers, you know, in segments over the past kind of few years, like
he hasn't blowing up against Jinder though, like in that little thing that he did as well. He was blown up there, so it's like
he hasn't done this. But I think obviously this is where a match with Roman favors him, because Roman is wrestling a slower pace, and it'll be more story. You know, that match won't be one which, you know, the Dave Meltzer fans were going to go mad over, but it's not going to be high with that kind of stuff. But it will be built around the storyline. With respect, there's enough of them, the bloodline, to kind of get him to have the interference and all this kind of smoz, and I guess what's becoming now a trope, which will actually booking, to be fair, or overbooking, I guess, with the interference and things like that. So there'll be enough of that outside kind of stuff, and all people really need to see is Roman Reigns get rock bottomed, Roman Reigns get people's elbowed, and, you know, The Rock laying the smackdown on him a bit. That's all they need to see, really. I think as long as they get all those in, like, the match can't really disappoint. And if there's an extra rock bottom or two for like Spirit Solo and Paul Heyman, that would also be appreciated, I'm assuming, by us and the rest of the WWE fans. But I think ultimately, in terms of, I guess, going back to this match we're talking about, and I guess we might as well merge this now into the next match anyway, I guess, the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
As we're kind of talking about Roman a lot, we may as well mention that he has obviously got a match at this PLE. I don't even got the graphic for it, but it's a Fatal 4-Way between Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. Here we are. There they all are. My lovely graphic.
By the way, my prediction for the last one was Logan Paul as well. So
yes, I forgot.
That's fine. That's fine.
We got
I'm irrelevant anyway. Don't worry.
But yeah, I mean, this one's quite interesting. Have they announced yet if it's elimination or is it just fatal 4-way? Like,
nah, it's probably. I think it's just fatal 4-way, like 1 fall to a
Okay.
finish kind of thing.
Do you have any more comments, Tor, or was that just it?
So it's going to be fatal 4-way. Obviously, it was quite interesting actually. I'm liking the stuff around it on SmackDown at the moment with a friend of ours, Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
A man who we both trained with actually back in the early days of his wrestling career. And yeah, this whole like Nick Aldis against the Bloodline thing is coming across actually really, really well on TV. And you know, the thing of Paul Heyman on SmackDown when he was saying to him about, oh, you know, we've not had a chance to read over the contract, Roman's not going to sign it, and Aldis was just like, okay, that's fair enough. Don't sign it. We'll just have it as a triple threat then for the vacant titles. Like basically showing that he is taking no prisoners from this bloodline. And be interesting to see whether they do actually get him to wrestle. And would that be a match that they would look at doing down the line potentially, like Nick Aldis versus Roman Reigns?
I mean, it's interesting because obviously, you know, they weren't very hot on Nick Aldis for a long time. Obviously, they only signed him in a. And it was much weird when they do from them when they hire. The thing is, you even argue Adam Pearce. To be fair, he's never obviously been a active wrestler for the WWE. You know, he'd always been just backstage and obviously now an on-screen role, but not a wrestling role. And similarly now, obviously Nick Aldis coming into things is a case of, well, you know, is the plan for him to start like this and then move on to like becoming a full-time wrestler? From what we kind of felt like previously, like it felt very much like, you know, when we had the chance, by the way, at DKW to have Nick Aldis for a guest seminar in the early part of last year, and it very much felt like his wrestling career was alive and well. And it then just felt like once he left Impact and moved to WWE, obviously his wrestling career, in ring at least, is maybe taken a back seat. But then we've seen this with people like Wade Barrett, obviously commentary at the moment, but he may or may not move on to. Oh, Dan, you are frozen, or you're just looking down? No, he's looking down. Yeah, you know, obviously Wade Barrett on commentary, and obviously hasn't wrestled since he left the company like before. So it's a case of it's hard to know, but I think it might be one to wait and see. I guess if rumors are true about Roman taking a break after WrestleMania again. Though I do ask the question, when people like Roman and Lesnar take breaks, that's not them just being part-time anyway. And that's a possible way. Like, you know, it always makes it a weird headline when you see like Brock Lesnar taking a break after WrestleMania. It's like, well, yeah, well, what do you expect? He's not going to like be on Raw to hype Backlash, is he? Like, you know, he's going to just go and then come back when it's SummerSlam. But yeah, rumors are.
Yeah, you're hardly going to have Brock Lesnar being like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to do like the live event loop for you know, go around to like I'm gonna spend like the whole weekend in like Newcastle, Glasgow, Manchester. Do a couple of signings in like
Glass Cow.
Yeah, Glass Cow, Newcastle,
Birmingham
yeah.
Arena,
and then London, and then he'll just rock up in like a Smith's toy store and sign some figures for people. But I've got a couple more comments. Let's just get to these quickly. As the subject of Brock Lesnar has come up, so I think we're getting Brock versus Gunther at Mania. It's a possibility. Intercontinental title is one championship that Brock Lesnar has never won. And yeah, I think that would be quite an interesting one to do, actually. So it'd be two beefy men slapping me. Daniel, he said, "Hey guys," as well, by the way.
Hey guys.
So, hey mate. Also thinks that we're getting Jay versus Jimmy at Mania. Yeah, and I think it's good the way that they're doing it because they've kept them off brands, on separate brands, so they can do their own little paths. And then I reckon the Rumble match itself could be where these paths recross again, because you know it wouldn't be unthinkable for some of the bloodline to actually be in the match. But then you'd think, okay, that'll be a good way to get the World Heavyweight title into the bloodline as well. But yeah, I think they're definitely going to do that at Mania, and that'll be. Do you know what? That'd actually be a banging opener for a Mania, because they always like to start it really hot. Another one here, I think Jade Cargill is going to debut at the Rumble, and AJ Lee will return at the Rumble. Yeah, we'll get to those kind of things when we do the actual predictions for the Royal Rumble matches themselves. But for now, yeah, obviously we were talking about the Fatal 4-Way match for the, let me try and get this right, the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship of the world.
Yeah. Of England.
of England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Canada, America, Japan. Yeah. The championship of the entire solar system.
System.
So so that championship, is it going home with Roman Reigns, and is it going to sit at the head of the table? Is it going to be going and sitting on AJ Styles' table with Wendy as well? Is it going to sit with the Ortons, or is it going to be going home with LA Knight? Yeah.
So I think that Roman is losing the championship at the Rumble.
Controversial.
I think we kind of mentioned it before, but just a touch. I think that if they're going to go ahead with Dwayne against Roman at Mania, I don't think it needs to be with the championship. It's big enough as it is. There's kind of no win for them if it is for title, because you have Roman win. If Roman beats The Rock, like, who can beat him? You know, like, no one. So you may as well have to Roman maybe retire with the belt. If The Rock wins, we've already said it's very problematic, because again you have another part-time champion who's just not going to appear, and probably have to do another year basically until we get it on someone kind of full-time-ish. And I think the time is just all up. Like, I think, obviously I don't watch the TV weekly, but I watch like bits and pieces and little clips. I just think the Bloodline stuff peaked. And I think the turning point really for me was SummerSlam. I think because they did, you know, they had what is known in the industry essentially as the jump the shark moment, which is, for me, when the only thing they could do to make it a surprise was have Jimmy turn again, even though he'd already turned. You know, they had him turn again at SummerSlam, and that was it. And then the whole, like, Jey Uso, you know, quitting and then coming back like a week later, it just feels like they've done too much now, where it's just like there's nothing else to do. And yes, they will set up Jey and Jimmy at Mania. Like, I've seen on Euroshop and I guess WWE Shop, they've got, you know, opposing t-shirt, which is quite cool. You know, you've got the Yeet t-shirt and you've got the No Yeet t-shirt for Jimmy. So I guess, yeah, and that's an easy one to get to. But yeah, in terms of this match, then I don't also think that AJ Styles is winning. Now, before going into this video, I was pretty certain on what I was going to say next, but maybe since then, and like just thinking about it, I've not been so sure. But I'm going to stick with my original prediction, though I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the other person. As I watched a segment with LA Knight like recently, and he is still mega over, like mega over. And there's just that feeling where I'm thinking they might pull the trigger, and they might just do it, because they've got the opportunity here in a Fatal 4-Way to obviously not have to have him pin Roman, and for him to pin someone like Styles, who, you know, as much as he's you know, in a right spot now, let's not forget he's not been in that spot for a long time. Like, when we went to obviously WWE and we was SmackDown, for example, he was in a dark match. Like, you know, there's no, you know, against Karrion Kross, and he hasn't been on like a PLE for like a long time, and that's obviously, you know, bad against the company, I guess. But, you know, he's not a guy who's like unable to be pinned in this situation. And so part of me thinks that they might pull the trigger, but then it just, for me, it's just like, where do they go after that? I don't see how LA Knight gets into a Mania picture that's already crowded main event wise, with obviously the likes of The Rock, Roman, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. You know, like, I don't know where that all fits, and do they want to end up kind of how they were, you know, like Mania's 26, 27, when they were having like Jack Swagger against Alberto Del Rio, you know, and how could you can't make that sound like a main event when the other one is like, you know, Michaels and Taker and Triple H and Orton and all the kind of bigger names, you know, involved. So I don't think they want to do that to their kind of championship, basically this big one. So therefore, my pick is going to be that Randy Orton becomes the new Galaxy champion and goes on to WrestleMania to feud with the person who I believe will win the Royal Rumble, which I'll make you wait, as I think that is a better way of doing the situation that they've got themselves in. And it'd be interesting, like, when, again, I'm hoping there's like a W24 episode that's coming out on this whole like period, really. There needs to be quite a few, to be fair. Like, because, you know, it's a bonkers company at the moment. Pardon, sorry?
They just don't do them enough, and like they've got so much content they could use for it. And it would give fans such a good like peek behind the scenes more.
Yeah, definitely. But it'd be interesting, like, you know, when The Rock inserted himself into these plans, because it could have been all along. Like, you know, he did say on the Pat McAfee show, didn't he, that they were very close to inking it for last year, but just couldn't really figure out the story. And they wanted. He's quoted as saying he wanted to do something that's never been done in WWE before, which I don't really know what that means in terms of The Rock, like, because, you know, when you think of like innovators, as much as he is like a kind of a once in a generation kind of performer, like, he wasn't really innovative, you know what I mean? Like, if someone like a Jeff Hardy said that, or like I don't know, some things, you know what I mean? You think, okay, they can be like some sort of new match type or some sort of new like bump for you to take or whatever. Or if, you know, CM Punk says it, it's like, oh, okay, maybe there'll be like some indie kind of feel to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, where he's gonna bring like, they're gonna like break the glass, what do you call it? The glass door, what's it called? Forbidden door or whatever. You know, you're like, okay, is that going to happen? With The Rock, I'm like, are you going to like bring movie stars into this now or something? Like, is Kevin Hart going to appear? Like,
what they're going to do is they're going to have the Dudley Boys and Al Snow in a head of the tables match.
Well, when you mentioned the Dudley Boys, weren't they rumored to be wanting to have one more run, you know, somewhere?
Yeah.
And I have, you know, but yeah, no, I think that would be a better way of doing what they want to do. I think the time has just come. I think Roman's reign with that championship has just come to a natural kind of ending point. And I think it is now just deciding, do you do it now or do you wait till Mania to do it? But if his opponent at Mania is The Rock, to me, it makes no sense. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that, but to me, it just kind of doesn't make any sense for The Rock to be in a championship match.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm in the same boat, to be honest. I think with The Rock coming back, it has kind of, I think, seemingly thrown a few things up in the air, and this being one of them, I think, because obviously everyone was kind of thinking that the two main events were kind of nailed on, that it is going to be like, I guess, Punk and Rollins on one side, Roman and Cody on the other side. But yeah, this whole like introduction of The Rock, and then like, I'm not sure if it was like something that I had mentioned potentially that they do Rock and Roman. See, the thing is, everyone's saying about WrestleMania, Rock and Roman is a match that does not, like, that is big enough to sell any show. They don't want these other shows to be seen as B shows anymore. They want every show to be like a big deal. Like, for example, Elimination Chamber, they are going to Australia in a 60,000 seat stadium, pretty much the same kind of size as the stadium they're using for WrestleMania. You know, Australia have point blank said, we want The Rock on this show. It's like, okay, so then why not do the winner of the Royal Rumble challenges the winner of the head of the table match, whoever comes out of that match, you do that for the title potentially. And then you have, I know then it means Roman has to work 2 pay-per-views in a row, which is unheard of. But then it means, you know, you can put somebody else potentially in there with The Rock at Mania. If you want The Rock to have that Mania match, give someone a Mania rub, like an LA Knight or something. Imagine the promo battles with them two. LA Knight, The Rock, you know, LA Knight gets over because of it, not in spite of it, kind of thing. And then you do like Cody and Roman. But yeah, for me, I just don't feel as though, as much as I love The Rock and I love what he does, I don't think it's the right time for him to be back. Like, bring him back earlier in the year, like bring him back at like a SummerSlam, a Survivor Series, even at an actual Royal Rumble. Like, do the match at one of the big 4 pay-per-views. But yeah, I think it's just with the Royal Rumble, I think it's just kind of throwing all. At WrestleMania, it would be throwing all the plans, I think, up in the air, unless they do something where they do kind of the best of both kind of thing, where you have Rock and Roman main event one night, Roman then main events the second night with the Royal Rumble winner, whoever that is potentially.
I think by that point you're getting too convoluted. I think.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. But
if the match is on the table, it can only happen at Mania. Like, The Rock didn't return to wrestle on the show at that. It's just, this is the thing. It's same with there's little things where it's like WrestleMania London, where it's never going to happen because they just won't ever do something like this that their main audience can't watch. Like, it's at 5 a.m. like US time. Like, it's just one of those where it's just never going to happen. Like I think if the Chamber was maybe in the US, and this would be one where I guess like if they hadn't already announced that, they might have even thought about moving it to the US. Like, I can't be with you, but I just think there's certain decisions they're never going to make, like that would affect their main domestic audience, their main domestic customer, like a lot. And I think The Rock returning at 5 a.m. you know, on a pay-per-view, like, just isn't really what they would want. They want The Rock to return at like a US pay-per-view, and so I get that maybe it could have come earlier.
CM Punk returned at like 4:30 a.m. for us lot.
But it's just kind of strategic planning. It's just timing, I guess, because obviously the strike led to the cancellation of the Young Rock series. Which then also led to the cancellation and reshuffling of the entire DCEU, which The Rock was a part of with Black Adam, and was meant to be a part of, obviously leading into the original plan for the DCEU. But now he's not part of those plans because of the strike. So it's a case of that's why he's back at this point. And I don't believe he would have been back earlier, like, because obviously this time last year he was going into things thinking that, oh, I've got a movie where it's Black Adam versus Superman. The story that he's always wanted to tell on the big screen, and that is now no longer on the table because he's no longer part of that. I know you're not a movie person, but that's basically where The Rock's coming from. He's then obviously had his TV show, which he was executive producing, be cancelled, so he hasn't got like a big commitment to executive produce something. Hence why he's able now to come back and sit at the director's table, I guess, of the WWE now, which is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers to think people who were feuding with each other on Raw and SmackDown 20 years ago are now kind of more than actually 25 years ago, I guess now, are now, you know, in executive positions in the company.
It is crazy, isn't it?
But yeah, like, I think for me, but anyway, I think if Chamber was in the US, I'd have said that would have been a better shout, but I just don't see them doing something to alienate their domestic viewership, because they do, as much as Triple H is pushing for the international feel, the pay-per-views and stuff, I think there's always like a different feel to the ones that are abroad. You know, like, you know, we still haven't got Brock, for example, anywhere other than Saudi and America. You know, there's still that feel where they're just a little rung, they're like a one rung below. Like, it's like Clash at the Castle, which is a perfect example of that for me, where it's like we're still just one, you know, Clash at the Castle ended with Tyson Fury singing.
Wasn't that that was meant to be like a production error or something, though, wasn't it? Supposedly, it was an error. But I think they knew what they were doing with that.
Yeah, they must have known. I think it was just a nice, fun moment because they knew everyone would be depressed after seeing, obviously, Drew.
So, Drew McIntyre's just got screwed out of the title when he's in his backyard of Cardiff, Wales. Yeah, that seasoned Welshman, Drew McIntyre. Yeah, okay.
But who do you think for this match then? I know we spoke
So,
about where it could go, but
to be honest, it's really tricky because like every pay-per-view that goes on, it makes it harder to go against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Which it's always tricky going against Roman because he's always seems to find a way. And I think the one thing that neither of us have mentioned as well is that it's a fatal four-way, which means there are no countouts, no disqualifications, meaning any of the bloodline can come in and just cause havoc. I reckon that is potentially what could well happen. The bloodline get involved, and I reckon that it's gonna cause Roman to win. As much as I think Orton could do it, I do think it's going to be a Roman Reigns victory, and he'll keep the title.
Yeah, it is a very hard one because I kind of see that. I don't know. The thing is, for me, I'm like thinking it's like 45% Randy, like 40% Roman, and then about 15%, or like let's say 10% against AJ Knight. AJ has a chance, I guess. He's in the match, so but a very low percentage.
I think AJ's in there to take the pin.
Yeah, and I guess that because is he heel or face at the moment?
AJ? Yeah, heel, I think.
And Randy Orton's babyface, so AJ Knight, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Then Randy could pin AJ. The whole RKO out of nowhere. That's the thing. The RKO out of nowhere is the biggest arse on this match, really, because as much as I'm with you with the shenanigans and bloodline stuff, but whether that all happens, take someone like LA Knight out of the match while Roman's down, and then you're left in the ring with Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Phenomenal
RKO on AJ,
RKO out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. While the bloodline are all at ringside, it sets up quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it does. I think it is going to be a case of if Roman does lose the belt, he's not getting pinned.
No, definitely.
Roman's not getting pinned in this at all.
Definitely not. No.
So, right. So I know you've got to go soon. So we'll quickly put the Royal Rumble matches up. Do you have any thoughts on these before you need to shoot off?
So,
or are you going to wait till the?
I'll give some thoughts, and I'll give my thoughts, and I will give. I won't give a prediction yet for the matches in terms of the winners because it's. And I don't know. We did say this to Scott previously, and with obviously Rob not being here and Scott not being on, it might be worth us potentially with these ones all collectively waiting until the build-up show that we're doing to do them. So I will refrain. I don't know if you want to as well, but I would choose to refrain from picking a name just on the basis that we said. Like, there's only 11 men or 9 men, isn't it? Or
11 men and 6
11
women.
men and 6 women. It's so hard. And while one would think that one of the people that we declared would win, we have been led to prove. We've been proven to believe that obviously these surprise entries, these last minute entries, are what tends to win the match. Obviously, we had Brock Lesnar a couple of years ago do it on the men's side of things, Ronda Rousey as well, do it from the women's side of things, and with a lot of talk about who could be in it, surprises and all that kind of stuff. All I will say is I think something I touched on at the start of the show, so people have been watching since then, but something which I think they may need to address in the future, though, is the 2 Rumbles on one night, weighing this card down like a lot. And I don't know if that's a sustainable way of doing the show. Because you've got 2 matches which you need to have an hour each for. And
they're always going to bookend the show as well, aren't they?
Yeah, always. Now everything into debris, the pacing is just so bad, and like the adverts and all these kind of little extra bits that exist now. It's always like a very long show, and like I don't know what you do. Like I don't know whether something I did think of for the women's one this year, does it need to be 30 women? Like, is there more than like 10 really that anyone really knows anymore? Like,
I think
outside
they're
of returning.
massive. Yeah, I think it's just they're massive on equality and stuff now. So I think, if they were to do it less, people be like, oh, what? So they're doing the women over like dirty again. It's like, well, then I
Yeah,
guess
or
the same would be
does it go to 2 nights? I mean, going to 2 nights might work, I guess.
or like headline one with the men's, one with the women's rumble.
Yeah.
I think that is probably where they're going to go eventually with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe do like, or have like its own pay-per-view, but yeah, do like like how they had like Evolution for like the women, so you have like an all women's show one night. Yeah, that could even work actually. Like an all women's show one night, so you have say like both women's titles on the line, the women's tag belts on the line, women's rumble to finish it, and then the next night you do say like a US title, men's tag titles, men's world title, men's rumble. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like, and that way you get in best of both kind of thing there, aren't you?
And I think the Rumble's a big enough event to do that with. I mean, even without the kind of gender split, like I think you can still get away with having a mix and match each night, like I guess, like they do for any other show, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I just think that, looking back, I'm just thinking every Rumble one, I'm just finding myself. I felt the same about War Games as well. And yes, War Games is a match I dislike, but I think I dislike it more because I've seen 2 of them on the same night. Because it's just like it's the same kind of thing, but I guess as well, like
I think Survivor Series as well. I think it just takes away the whole like Survivor Series tag team matches.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm quite like a traditionalist in that sense, where I prefer the Survivor Series tag matches.
Yeah, I love those, but yeah, we never had a chance to get them back, I guess, so maybe this year. But I do think the men's one is very open between a few people, and I'll leave us with this before I go at least. I think you got Cody, you got Punk, you got McIntyre, you've got Lashley. Even to be fair, like I think all it would take is some reminding from WWE that he was a former WWE champion, and has defended the championship at WrestleMania. All it would take is some, good creative with that to make that happen. But you got a number of people in this match that could win. Yes, you picked up earlier. There's not as much SmackDown representation as there is from Monday Night Raw. You're even wearing the t-shirts. You're even adding to that that bias of Monday Night Raw.
First thing I picked up that was clean.
And I guess as well, maybe they're trying to make it out like there's more people gunning for Seth, but even like Gunther as well. Like they had him obviously on Raw last night, didn't they?
So it's a case of as well with the briefcase.
Are they trying to make us think that and then swerve us the other way? This is where I like with the Rumble, like it has that kind of ability. Because let's be real, like that Rumble, that Lesnar one, for example, there was loads of other people that people thought before he came in that were going to win, and then
apparently, if you believe Riddle, that's what was happening. Then he just come in as like, I'm not getting eliminated.
Yeah.
was that the same one that Shane McMahon just randomly came back in as well?
Well, yeah, that's the match. Obviously, yeah, and it led to Shane McMahon having a leave of absence from WWE because of that. The way he produced that match, didn't he? And it was obviously very much not seen like highly, but yeah, hindsight's one of those things. So you just go, oh, I mean, a better one maybe to use would even be the 2008 Royal Rumble match, which was won famously by John Cena. A complete kind of surprise at that time. Coming back after injury, and going into that, people felt it was going to be The Undertaker or Triple H or whatever, Shawn Michaels.
Was that the one at MSG?
Yeah,
It was in the when they had the old entranceway. That was
the old
amazing.
entranceway,
that's the one where I think that's the only Royal Rumble match Scott's not watched because I spoiled it for him the next day. I think it was in school or so. I'm not sure when it was. What year was it again? Sorry,
2008.
Oh, 2008. Yeah, I spoiled it for him basically saying, "Oh my God, Cena's back! You on the Rumble?" He's like, "Yeah, cheers, mate. I've not even watched it."
Yeah,
but yeah,
those are my thoughts. Obviously, we are going to be back for the build-up show on Saturday before the event. So obviously, I'll be able to give more thoughts, as will I guess everyone else, because it does seem like there's not much we can really say. Particularly about the women's one, like how you meant to pick. Like between like 6 women that have been announced, although I have stronger feelings towards maybe like a Becky Lynch or Bayley, but then with the impending potential return of like Naomi, or even if they do manage to snatch up Sasha Banks again, for example, even to be fair, like legends they've already got signed, like returning, like I'd even be down, you know, at this stage, if Trish was to return and win the Rumble, like that would, I'd be down for that, because I genuinely just don't think there's anything, and it's sad in a way, anything kind of creatively going for the women, other than Bayley and Damage Control, and maybe Becky and Rhea, I guess, is something they want to set up as well. But it doesn't seem like there's as open a field, in my opinion. I mean, you watch more regularly than I do, so potentially you'll be able to highlight if there's anything major in the women's division that is happening.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously got like the Damage Control thing. A lot of people on Raw are kind of gunning for Ripley. I think they see Rhea Ripley as like this, like boss basically. And I think it's been, I'm not sure if it's been revealed like externally, but apparently the plan is for her to main event Elimination Chamber as well. So I see her going into WrestleMania as women's champion. Whether Io does on the other side of things is a different conversation entirely. But yeah, we shall see. Like you said, we will be doing then the Royal Rumble matches on the build-up show. I'm not going to be on that one, so I will give mine into the guys to play on the video as usual. But yeah, so that I think is everything from us for now. If there's anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay, so there is no more competitors. All 30 men have been in the Rumble match, but there's only been 2. Numbers 1 and 2 have been here. So yeah, that is everything from us, guys. Take care and ta-da for now. We will see you on Saturday. Bye. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.